without Gary. I think we could have our regular meeting. There are no decisions or action items, but we just wouldn't be able to go into executive session.
All right. Well, it is now I have 5:09, so I will call the meeting to order. We have quorum. For those of us attending via Zoom, if there is someone in the room with you, please raise your hand. Seeing no hands, for the records, attending board members via Zoom are by themselves. And I guess the next thing is we have no testimony, either written or oral. And
That's correct.
yes, so now can move into the meeting. So I will start with approval of the minutes. Are there any changes or additions to the August 5th minutes that were circulated? Okay, seeing that there are no one's raising their hand or saying that they need any changes or additions, may I have a motion to approve the August 5th minutes as circulated?
So moved.
Was that Diana?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Is there a second?
I see
I'll
Billy.
second.
Okay.
Oh, Billy. Okay.
Billy second. Okay. I have a motion to move and a second to accept the minutes as submitted. All in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are unanimously approved. And move now to Kahuku report.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Kahuku met on August 7th. At that meeting, they were briefed by Kaleo Pilago on his last month's community outreach and educational activities, which included a visit and Malama Aina Day with the staff, professional staff from the Hawaii Island Health Center. They came up to Halekuaku and helped us with some weed removal, invasive removal, and some planting in the Silver Sword enclosure. And then we had a chance to talk with them afterwards for about 45 minutes, answering their questions on any of a number of things, including what's happening with Maunakea. It was a very successful engagement. One of the things I personally was excited about that came out of it is there was an interest on their behalf as part of their give back to the Mauna to explore with us the opportunity or the possibility of our employees who work on the Mauna take an annual high altitude physical. And the physician who was the only one in town doing it previously has since passed away. And there is someone else who is taking over that practice, if you will. But the health center had some staff that were very interested, who had some experience actually in working with patients who operated at high altitudes. So they're doing some of their own internal discussions to see if there might be an opportunity for us to work with them on some of that. So that was something that I personally found really rewarding that came out of the engagement. The other thing Kaleo briefed them on is that he does have now two interns that will be working with him. One started earlier this summer, the other will be start or has started now. Both of them have research projects that they're doing, but they will also be working with him to support some of the coordination needs he has with the outreach activities that he's being able to get on the calendar for the next two semesters. The other thing that we briefed them on was a project that someone is requesting to do on DLNR land adjacent to ours. It's a project to do some documentation, film documentation of ko'i making, the ads making. And what they want to do is they want to go into the ads quarry and actually collect blanks and then use those to actually train students or train haumana to perpetuate the practice of ads making. That's not something that we have to review and approve ourselves because it's not in our land, it's on DLNR land. But it was such an unusual request that DLNR did ask Kahuku to weigh in on it. And they provided their input, which we have passed on to DLNR. And that project proposal now is being vetted by DLNR. But it's a good example of how interagency cooperation, working together on the mountain. They meaning DLNR is increasingly looking to us to provide some of that kind of input on things, requests that they're getting for people wanting to do projects on their land. So that's really exciting. And then the other things that we reviewed with them are pretty much the things I'm going to be covering in my executive director's report with you folks tonight. And that's basically an update on MKSOA and the whole transition process and where we are with that. So those are the main things that were unique to Kahuku that we reviewed, Roberta. And I think it was a good meeting. They enjoy, actually, they enjoy being able to discuss and weigh in on projects that aren't necessarily related to astronomy development and that sort of thing. So it was a good conversation that we had with them.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, if not, why don't you move into your executive director's report, Greg?
Okay. I have a few slides to help walk folks through the material that I was going to cover listed there in the agenda. So let me. Okay, there it is. Can everyone see that? See the slides?
Yes.
Okay. So the number of things I wanted to review with you folks tonight, including an update on the legislative site visit, some work that discussions that are going on with the regents and MKSOA and the Joint Management Committee around Act 255 and specifically possible amendments. A joint permitted interaction group that is now being formed. The long-term transition work group, the asset transfer working group status, and then where the MKSOA is on their plan development. I'll go quickly through these slides. So the delegation from the House of Representatives visited us in August. It was set up and organized by MKSOA staff, specifically Bill Stormont. He was the contact who organized the whole thing. The goals of their visit included just getting an understanding of our current operations and how everything sort of works together. And some of the challenges that from an operational perspective, the university deals with on the mountain, and that MK-SOA would be needing to address when they take over. Another goal of the visit was most of these people had never been to Mauna Kea at all. Our local delegation who was part of it had some had been to the summit, others had never been beyond the visitor information station. So there was just a general interest in learning about the natural and cultural resources of Mauna Kea. They wanted to also understand the future planned organizational structure of MK-SOA and how we are currently working through the Joint Management Committee on various joint management issues. And then they wanted to understand the extent and content of future funding requests beyond the MK-SOA's current recurring operating funds, which have been approved, to include any additional additional positions and potential CIP requests. Some of these folks that were in the group are on the House Finance Committee as well. So the group included these folks, or at least this was the original invitee list. Ended up Representatives Ilagan, Hussey, and Garrett were not able to make it. But the rest of the group came, and then there were some staffers from Representative Ichiyama's office who helped with some of the organization. It was a full 2 days, essentially, a day and a half. We included a summit visit in the evening to Keck Observatory that Rich Matsuda organized. I think that the meat of the time, however, the visit was really spent on transition issues. This is the MK-SOA's project map. I believe I've shared this with you folks before. This is a very, very high level map of how they are beginning to plan and schedule and the various levels and types of activities that are necessary to get themselves ready by July 1st, 2028. And so they went over this with the legislative group. And then in addition to that, Doug Simons reviewed his timeline, which, as you folks know, is drastically different from this one. So we had a good conversation throughout the visit about how to accelerate certain things. The legislature obviously is interested in MK-SOA meeting the July 1st, 2028 deadline. In particular, they were interested in understanding this first layer or row of activities around proposed amendments that they might be asked to review and sponsor in this next upcoming legislative session. So we did talk about those as well, and I'll talk a little bit more later. At the time of the visit, things were still a little bit in flux with the MK-SOA's engagement of their planning team, but they did announce the decision that had been made and where they were in developing, working through some of the contract issues that existed at the time. At this time, MK-SOA has resolved all those contract issues with SSFM. And so the planning team has been fully engaged and is on board. The next main thing that's happening with their plan development is next week, Monday and Tuesday, is an overnight that they're the planning team is scheduled to come up to Halepohaku. And we'll be meeting with them to go over a number of different things. Primary among them is to review with them our master plan, our management plan, our administrative rules, and how all of that works together. And we'll be identifying for them some of the challenges that we see they will have in developing their plan. So that's scheduled for Monday afternoon, the first day that they're there. Included in our briefing to them is Doug Simon's presentation as well. So Doug will be going over the presentation he's presented to this group and to others regarding the critical path that needs to be accelerated if we're going to address some of the issues around the observatories and the securing of new leases and permits. So I'm happy to say that the planning process is getting started. I think even they are not as pleased yet as to where it needs to be, but at least it's getting started and we know who we'll be working with in the next several years. So we reviewed all of this with the legislative team. We also reviewed with them all the work that we've been doing with the transition working group. This is the transfer of assets. So this is the material that we went over them with them. The thing I would want to update you folks on in particular is we are almost through the process of reviewing all the documents and major, agreements, permits, and all of that sort of thing. And they are looking at having this process completed sometime before the end of this year with their report, their consultant's report, to be completed the first quarter of 2026. Now, the important thing about that whole process, which we emphasized to the legislature when they were up there with us, is that only gets them to the point of now developing a plan for the transfer of different assets. This only gets us to the point of understanding what are the steps that are going to be needed to be done to address the transfer of some of these assets. It doesn't actually start that process yet. So there's still a lot of work lot more work that needs to be done. And there still is the whole issue of RCUH and our RCUH employees that needs to be addressed. So while we're making progress, there's still a lot that needs to be thought through and coordinated. And obviously the legislature was very interested in this. We reviewed with the legislature some of the issues that are out there that we've been talking about here and in different venues, including the fact that different assignments and transfers are going to require different steps, third-party approvals, possibly Act 255 amendments. We don't know, and all of that has timeline implications. There's still this outstanding issue of how MKSO holds their property interests. That's fundamental to their plan development, as well as a number of other things that they're needing to address. There's still this issue of Chapter 183 jurisdiction. This is the conservation district issue. So we briefed the legislative team on those issues. I have raised more recently Chapter 171 and 205 issues. This is their authority to issue a lease, as well as their authority to have oversight over land use decisions in the conservation district for Mauna Kea. We just don't know if there are unintended consequences because of how the act is written. It basically says all powers and duties associated with 171 and 205 are transferred to the authority. But nobody's really ever done an analysis of, are there some unintended consequences of that? So I've been raising that recently. Then there's this whole issue in the transfer of people and assets, which can't happen until their plans and the leases and the permits and all of those issues have been addressed. Because that is what our people do. And then we brief them on the impacts of our funding and what's happening with the federal situation. And we discuss with them the idea of cost sharing, and which they seem to be very supportive of. Very supportive of MKSOA being able to use their appropriation to cost share with us during this transition period. Now, one of the things that we also briefed them on at that point was also what came out of the Board of Regents Institutional Success Committee briefing that MKSOA and myself did back in August, on August 7th. Long story short, and Mike and Wayne could probably chime in and offer more. It was decided that it was proposed and agreed to, at least by the regents and MKSOA, John Kumeji, that each entity would establish their own permitted interaction group, or PIG. The purpose of which would be to identify and resolve larger strategic and policy issues necessary to ensure the transition of authority, UH to MKSOA. And the idea is that they would convene jointly to discuss these issues. This would include the possibility of discussing and resolving any issues requiring legislative amendment, Act 255 amendment. It was generally thought that this would be a way to ensure that each agency's legal and contractual and mission obligations are being met or being addressed during this whole transition process. Some of the regions, there were some regions who were very concerned about that. And while it came out of the discussion about preparing for the legislature next session of the legislature, really the way I see this joint PIG is needing to be prepared to address any of a number of larger strategic policy and legal issues that are still pending out there. So I think the scope here will be fairly broad. Our regents did establish a PIG at their last Board of Regents meeting to work on this. MKSOA did establish a PIG at their last board meeting. What has not been affirmed or confirmed yet is whether DLNR or the BLNR has established theirs. Chair Dawn Chang, I reached out to her to ensure that she was looped in on this whole discussion. She's not available to meet till after September 9th. However, her deputy, Ryan Kanakaoli, who sits on the MKSOA board, is aware of this and is supposed to be working with the chair on addressing BLNR setting up their own permitted interaction group. So I don't know what the status of that is, but nonetheless, our regents now have established a mechanism to be involved in some of the higher level policy and legal issues that need to be addressed. And that concludes my report at this point. Any questions, or I invite Mike and Wayne to weigh in on the PIG discussion as well. If you guys want to.
Wayne, any comments?
Just for the group's interest, the PIG members are Mike Mihara, Lauren Akitaki. They are both co-chair of Institutional Success and internal audit, so very important committees on the Board of Regents. In addition, myself and Regent Abercrombie.
And chair also, right?
Right, also
I'm
Gabe
sorry,
Lee.
and that's, yeah, I'm sorry, and Gabe Lee, yes.
I think our position at this point is to meet with them and find out what exactly they're gonna propose to do at the upcoming legislative session. And then consider the impact on CMS, IFA and the university. And I think we don't want to necessarily do anything that would jeopardize what we have right now. But at the same time, we do recognize our responsibility to try and meet the spirit of Act 255. I think initially we will review the framework of a PIG and then meet with Greg and Doug and perhaps with Gary and get prepared for our initial meeting with the MK PIG. The big question in my mind is whether or not they've already broached the question of how they hold property rights with DLNR. And what DLNR's reaction is or position is. And if it remains consistent with what we've heard in the past, then I'm not sure what we're going to achieve this coming session.
You know, and that's the other point, I think, that at least my hope that these joint PIGs will do is to help author legislation for this session. So I don't know if we can all individually get our PIGs going together and then start meeting in a timely fashion to get legislation authored and submitted. But I think it's in the interest of the university, of CMS, that this year legislation gets submitted that is co-authored by the shared groups as opposed to just MKSOA or just us.
I have a question, I guess for Wayne and Mike. So in your opinion, is there enough knowledge and agreement that you feel the that you can arrive at legislation that's going to be, effective and resolve a lot of questions? Because if not, well, and so what you're saying is there probably isn't enough time for 26, 20, right? 25, 26. So we're talking 27, 28? I mean,
I don't
sorry,
know.
26, 27?
Yeah, I don't know, Roberta. I think MK wants to achieve something this coming session. And I'm not sure that we would be in agreement or support of what they intend to do. At this point, I think we want to try and reach out to them and see if we can come to a joint resolution that makes sense for all parties. But until we see exactly what they are going to propose, I guess I withhold any opinion as far as whether or not we're going to achieve anything.
So it's not clear that they know either then.
Well,
I mean,
I
it's not
think
even
they-
a framework that, this is where we want to move to. I mean, is any of that even in place?
I think at least some of them know what they want to propose. Exactly what we have yet to see. We've talked about it rhetorically, but not in specific detail.
Hmm.
Yeah, and And I don't know because we haven't talked about it, but and I agree with Mike. I think they have an idea of what they want to propose for this session. And I don't know what's going to happen if they don't get agreement with us on that. Meaning, would they still submit it without, this joint agreement? So
Yeah.
that's we haven't worked out those details yet, unfortunately. And we're really, I mean, this is August.
Yeah, I mean, the clock's just ticking along, right? Yeah.
Agreed.
And that also assumes that MK SOA has consensus with everything that they're gonna what they're gonna propose, right? Which I mean, do they even have? I mean, is there any? Well, I'm sorry. I guess what seems unclear to me is, is there really an ability for consensus decisions by MK SOA that will be effective in getting, this whole transition completed?
Bonnie, do you know?
Well, I think, we're moving toward that, but we're starting with pretty high level, like the framework is more of a value statement. But the other thing that the MKSOA is doing is not only trying to get agreement within the group, we're shopping things out to community. So last week we met in Kona for a talk story. Tomorrow we meet in Lapahoihoi and then Hilo, but the value framework, the due date for that
Oh, we just lost the,
is
Oh.
but my understanding, and of course I don't speak for the group, is that we do a similar process as we move forward with the plans. Right, so be doing these talk story sessions, not just on this island, but other places in the state, trying to get that community input. So how that lines up with the timeline, I'm not sure. I mean, I think the fact that we're doing these talk story sessions in pretty quick succession is showing that we can. Whether or not, we can contain or sustain the momentum is a good question.
so I heard there was quite a bit of disarray in the Kona session. I mean, that it got basically hijacked. Is that true?
Yes, but we continued with the work. So one group ended up getting hijacked and the rest of us moved the conversation elsewhere and it kept going. And so there were actually some really good pieces of feedback that came out of the talk story session last week. Now those will all have to be captured and then the authority will have to have a conversation as to how many of those suggestions to take. One consistent theme is, and I don't know if the MKMB has looked at the framework document, because I missed a couple of meetings.
I don't know.
I mean, it might be.
I don't think so.
It might be a good idea for you all to see this and even discuss it perhaps, but. One of the requests that we got from a couple of the groups was to make it more straightforward. It sounds very kind of academic and bureaucratic in some areas, and so a lot of the people assembled last week want to see more plain English, if you will, in the document, which I thought was a valid suggestion.
Given the time, though, is that realistic?
That I don't know.
The framework document, is it available for public consumption?
Circulation.
Yeah, it's up on the website somewhere, so we can distribute it.
I can get it to you guys. What I had actually asked John DeFries and the team was, as they're doing this outreach on their framework, to consider plugging in MKMB, Environment Committee, and Kahukumana into that process. And, they've been focused more on broader community.
It's like 2 years kind of
Yeah.
late. Okay, so anyway, that's where we are,
Okay.
Roberta.
Thank you.
We hold our first meeting this Friday.
Oh, so you folks are scheduled to have a meeting?
It's primarily plan, introductory and planning an agenda.
Okay. Okay. Good. Shall I finish up, Roberta?
Yes.
And then, okay, a couple other matters, I just wanted to also, let people know, where we are, with on our financial situation. So obviously, still think things are still in flux with the federal budget and whatnot. You know, we've discussed our anticipated, funding gaps, with Bonnie, with President Hensel, and others. So there's been no sort of change there. One thing that we did were able to secure is at the last Regents meeting, they did approve our commercial tour operator fee increase. So that's gonna help a lot. Nahua and the team are working right now on getting ready. It's gonna be implemented October 1st, and they're getting ready to sort of getting all the back end stuff aligned to make sure that we can receive the payments properly and whatnot. So that's in place. And then the other thing is the discussion around cost sharing with MK we discussed it at our joint management committee meeting last week. Nahua is preparing some additional information for John DeFries. He wants to present a proposal to his board in October with the idea that it would be a January 1st implementation date. The proposal is, the preferred proposal is to approach this as MK would be matching UH's contribution to stewardship to CMS as part of our joint management agreement and roles, but would is also to ensure the ongoing operations during this transition period, because it does neither MK nor CMS any good if we have to start to disrupt operations because of the impacts of the budget cuts or potential budget reductions, let me put it that way. And we've got a timeline that we're working towards. As I said, Nahua is preparing some additional information for John DeFries that would be used to help him prepare his proposal. I believe John is going to discuss it a little bit more detail at your board meeting next week. Yeah. So those discussions continue to move on. Any questions about our financial situation?
Is the CTO fee increase going to be enough to close the gap?
Not completely. But I think the delta between what we receive now and what we'll get would be in the neighborhood of $500,000, maybe a little bit north of that. So it'll significantly assist or help, that's for sure.
How much time do you have for that 500,000? If you don't get it.
Given our current funds right now, we anticipate we could get ourselves through April, May next year. Assuming our funding from UH stays the same.
Mm.
Any questions on our financial situation? we reviewed all of this with the legislature as well, the legislative group when they came on.
Okay.
If there's no questions on that, the last item I had was a proposal I wanted to make. I think we've discussed with you, shared with you folks in previous meetings that Jesse Suki has left service with university. He's now with the Department of Education. And so we had a nice farewell luncheon for him last week and had a chance to catch up and sort of reminisce about all the work that he's helped us with. I wanted to propose, if the board was willing, that at our next board meeting, I'll prepare a resolution recognizing his service to Maunakea Management Board and to Mauna Kea that I'd like to put on the record. And because I think he is, well, I know personally, and I think Nahua would agree, we have learned a tremendous amount from him, given his land use background, and his knowledge of the whole land use legal framework in Hawaii. Actually, not just in Hawaii, but at the federal level as well. And so really because of him that we were able to get through the administrative rules process the way that we did, and get through a lot of tough negotiations that have happened since he first joined the university. So if the board were willing, I'd like to draft a resolution honoring him and his service that we could take up at our next meeting in October. That'd be okay?
Yeah, it's okay with me, certainly.
Yeah.
Okay with me.
We don't have,
No.
we can take that action in October to actually adopt the resolution. I just wanted
All
to
right.
make sure we were okay with that.
Very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes my executive director's report, Roberta.
Okay. Do we have any other agenda items?
No,
No? If
No.
not, do we have a need for executive session?
yes, I would like to move that we go into the executive session to consult with our attorney regarding our powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities, especially as in regards to our joint management role with MK
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Diana. So we have a motion and a second to move into executive session. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Aye. Okay, unanimous. We will now move into executive session and then reconvene upon closing of executive session. We'll see everyone back later.
Thank you.
Okay.
You folks have still not discussed as a board the proposals for legislation.
Not unless they got to it after I left the last meeting.
No. This is,
ready yet.
Are you planning to go tomorrow night? To Love Hawaii?
No, I have a group that we're hosting up in. Are you right?
Yeah.
I thought you had to go somewhere.
Well, I'm going from Hawaii to the airport, flying to Honolulu.
Oh, okay.
Although found out after I made all my travel arrangements, that BORs that start till 9:30. I could have taken the 7:45 flight.
9:30?
That's what it says on the agenda.
We have a full agenda.
I know.
Good.
I don't know if there's something going on in the morning that,
Everyone's back except for Dr. Bill.
Okay, I think we're waiting for Billy, right?
Yeah, just Billy.
I don't
Okay.
see Diana.
Oh.
Diana's
Yeah.
there.
Oh, okay.
There's
It's not on
Billy.
screen.
Billy.
Hey, good, everybody.
All right.
Sorry, I was listening.
Okay. Okay, we have everybody back in the room, so I will reconvene the Maunakea Management Board meeting, and Greg, if you will summarize our executive session, thank you.
Sure. So, in executive session, we discussed with our attorney, some of the implications related to the pending issues, that, I discussed in my executive director's report, in terms of the transition with MK-SOA. This has to do with, MK-SOA's authorities and the jurisdictions and how it might, impact the university's interests. No decisions were made, no recommendations were provided, no actions were taken, during executive session.
Thank you. We'll move into announcements. Any announcements? Greg or Nahua?
Noah, anything?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. I don't have
Okay.
any, Roberta.
Okay, thank you. Our next public meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 7th at 5 p.m. I don't have any other announcements. So it is now, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give the time for our reconvening, which was 6:30, 6:28 or something. But I have the
I
time.
wrote down 6:34.
Oh, 6:34, okay. Reconvene at 6:34. One announcement is just our next board meeting on Tuesday, October 7th at 5 p.m. There is nothing, no other announcements, so I will adjourn the meeting. It is now 6:36, and everybody have a great rest of the week. Aloha, and thank you for joining the meeting.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, everyone.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Yeah, we got this, I got this request from, I don't know if you've heard of Full Corner Initiative. Yeah,